Hey, Storm Coates here, and we're playing The King is Watching. Now, I've done some no commentary videos, but kind of want to explain some of the gameplay that I've been doing, and kind of how this game works. Honestly, it's a great game. There's a link in the description below if you want to play it on Steam. So first thing to mention, you probably have noticed my game board's been changing a bit with each and every iteration of the game. That is a combination of the challenge difficulty level called threats. We can go over to preparation and check this out. As you go through the threats, you have different modifiers applied. Right now we only have village and graveyard. And you can see with graveyard it says if I beat threat level 3, which is the current level I need to beat, we end up getting to actually get the next level with unique bosses separate from the village. So if you start at 0, you're on easy mode, 30% cheaper for all buildings and units. Your units deal 50% more damage. You're only facing 2 bosses instead of 3, and you don't get any challenges. I want to say the challenge disabled is just for, just for that lowest level. Threat level 2 is basically the neutral state. And then they have a currency that you spend for upgrades that increases as the threat level increases. To give an idea, I'm pretty sure that 0 is just straight up scaled to how the demo was, relatively. Maybe not with the damage and the costs. A lot was changed from the demo. Which is if you want to experience what this game is, but you don't want to put down the $15 to get it, I do recommend playing the demo. It is going to give you a very solid idea of what the gameplay is like, but understand that the actual full game is just way more on top of it. The demo, you get 1 king. You got 7 kings so far for the main game. 2 different areas at the moment, from what I can tell. There might be more as I unlock. That I'm not sure of. Threat levels does not exist at all in the demo. You don't have these advisors at all, which I'll be getting to in a second. But yeah, let's do the council and advisors, because this all ties into the upgrades, but you kind of want to know everything going on with the upgrades, and how that relates to everything else. So the advisors are basically stronger modifiers you can apply and kind of mix and match to your gameplay. So Gustav is your starter. You get him from the beginning. Adorable duck with glasses. He provides a 5% boost to the production of all buildings. Twins, start of their run, you'll obtain a basic construction building. I don't really run with that because I run automaton instead, which is just you get 5 additional trees and small wheat fields, which is just way more than just 1 basic construction building, flat out. Julian basically is relative to the spell called Fireworks. It's a production boost temporarily. It only costs 20 logs, wood, whatever they're calling it. And then another one that I'm using right now is Brainamir. Increases HP of the castle by 100. Normally start at 100. Double HP, no brainer. Of course I'm going to take that. And then these other tabs are just challenges and encyclopedias. So it's noting that I have fully beat 3 bosses with King Baldwin. I've only defeated a single boss with King Leonid, which is the current king I'm playing. So far, what are those are the differences? I haven't really played the other kings yet. And then you see some challenges. They're more going to be tuned to the other kings. As you dig into it, they have very different applications of this concept called morale, and that unlocks abilities and skills. Everything that, like, how the kings want to play are pretty different between each other. So King Baldwin's basically just, hey, you get morale. Let me go over here to kind of show it. You get morale and it does more damage. And the other one I've unlocked, King Leonid. In general, you get more building production. That's good, because he starts with a lower sight range than the other guy. And then the morale effect is like as you gain morale, your chance of the friendly unit spawning with double HP just increases. And for just what we're going to be doing, I'm going to be jumping into threat level 0, sorry, just to kind of give you all a quick idea and talk over things, and not worry too much about it. We're only going to go to one boss, just flat out. I will be putting it in 3x speed. I'll be going over kind of how to manage that. Just in general, the runs, if you don't have it in 3x, are going to hit an hour easily. With 3x and 3 bosses, you're going to hit an hour, so like going 2 or 1x is going to take forever. So, now we get to the upgrades. I'll go over what I have here, and you'll give an idea what they are. Each of these categories affects different things. So, this yellowish orange seems to be more resource-based. So like this one, start 30 wine, which 30 wine affects morale, which we'll be getting into once this starts. 250, and these are just good boosts, just to get where you want to go. For this early guy, this is going to be more of maybe hit that double HP really quickly for some very strong troops. And then this magic skill is the one I grabbed just because you really want spells as soon as possible to start being generated. And you can see how it kind of gets into this spell damage on that side, and this is troop limits and research tables, and then some resources around there. Here we get more into different upgrades. So, and the main thing I've been trying to target with this one is this term, banish the nobles. I'll be getting to that when we get there, but the nobles are just tiles you cannot use. So there's additional tiles around unlocking, and like I've really liked the druids. But the main reason I was going on these paths was to unlock Banish the Nobles, which is why I haven't gone down this right path at all. As well, this path includes extra troop limits. And you see they have left plenty of room if they want to keep adding things. Because you'll see one of these they've definitely, you can tell they spend a lot of time on. That blue tab's going to get into advisors, but this green tab is just unlike your kings, and these kind of like very late upgrades. Like it's 5-10%. It's not going to do a lot, but it's really just like, you know, you've been grinding out the game, you need something to get, and these are the upgrades for that. And you get the unlock the first royal, second royal, and third royal quest. So you unlock quests. I'll be completely honest, I haven't figured out what those mean completely, but I'll be going up until I get to Spellus, just because I like spells and I like the idea of really managing spells. And then once I get through all of these guys, I'll be going over here. And that's what I appreciate, is they have these different levels, different challenge levels, and then on top of that, they made the kings fairly different. So, here are the advisors. Kind of things you want to be targeting: advisor slots. You want advisor slots. That's how you get more guys and more adjustments as you go. The two I nabbed really quickly was just again, Automaton and Brainamir. Just again, the demo had something. If you play the demo, where you could get these wheat fields that you could just kind of keep buying them forever. You can no longer do that now. So you just have a limit, and if you use up all of them, you're kind of out of luck unless you keep rolling them. So having that extra 5 just means I'm not really worried about trying to prio getting these basic resources, and I can very quickly grab additional resource types and lead into and pivot a bit more than I could otherwise. Okay, so we're gonna hop into this again. Threat 0 village, so nothing too crazy. And it always kicks off by describing how many bosses you're gonna have. If you are fighting Sing 3, you'll have 3 of these, and then there is an unlock that sets it so you actually get to know about all the bosses you're gonna face. But right now we only know the first boss. Again, we're going this run into until we're done with just getting Margra. And once we're done with Margra, we'll move on. Now, here's something I grabbed, which is choose a starting resource. So it's, you can grab water, you can grab wood, you can grab grapes. I'm gonna grab water, and there's a reason for this. So normally, you gotta set the wells, which I'm still gonna set them up because we'll need them later. But those wells get you water, which are the only requirements for wheat and wood. Okay, you know, setting these up like I usually do, but that should be good. So, what are these? These are like kind of like your literal base. These are your, like, the base of all base resources. And then you have ore, clay, crystals, and grapes, and gold are your other, like, not unique niche ones. They do cover their own areas and their own buildings, but like flour is a multi-step to make, metal is a multi-step to make, the wine's a multi-step, meat's very specific, fuel's very specific, and furniture, again, these are all like the more advanced resources, but you're really not going to be worrying about at the beginning of the game. One thing to note, they changed up a bit that I don't think they had in the original one. I'm just getting some water, just so we have a bit more. Seat 21, okay, that should be good. So, as you build buildings, the cost of the next building will continue to increase compared to the one you got before. So, you can see 32, 38, how they're both a little different. I've built one more wheat field, so my wheat field costs a little more. And it's basically increasing by 20% of the base cost every time you build it. So it's something to keep in mind, and when you're doing the math, always add in an extra percentage when you're trying to calculate, okay, how many of these I need. So, in this case, I don't need 10, I need 22. I don't need 20, I need 22. And that's going to be increased by 20% after we get it. So we need wood, and we're going to need some wheat. And that is so we can start building out our army. Army gets increased by wood, and only wood, which is how it gets increased. Our vision gaze, which is what activates certain tiles, that is over here, and you can increase it with gold, wheat, and clay. And that is something to remember, that you really need to get clay at some point to upgrade these. Now, I forget if it's different for each king, because I want to say Baldwin is just flat out gold. There is nothing else involved with the upgrades. And what I'm doing right now, you might be hearing me slam my keyboard a bit, but if your space bar itself can pause and unpause time, and it'll bring it back to the last speed you had. So you can see I've set it to 3, and that's something kind of get used to of, yes, it's going to move fast if you're at 3, just remember to get really comfortable hitting pause the space bar. You can do your action, and then you can continue pushing forward. So in this case, we're going to be getting our troops set up. I need some more wheat to actually grow the troops. You can see up here that open up the dialogue box, and it's telling you kind of what you need to know about the peasant. We got their HP, DPS, the trait that aligns with this. In this case, it's just adding the general production toward everything we're doing for each peasant on the battlefield, nothing crazy. And then it's 6 wheat to make that peasant. So we got enough wheat. We're just kind of trying to get enough so we can hit 2. And then up here you can see the waves and the rewards we're going to get from those waves. And I'm going to sit there and just let this grab water until the waves come, because now we have 4 peasants of each. You just need a lot of water. In general, you just need water to continue building back up your other basic resources as you expend them. So this is just one goblin bandit. You really just need 1 peasant, but like it's still good. Just get your army up early, especially when you have that early wine. Since you have an increased chance to double their HP, you may as well just produce a few while you know you have that wine. So this is the kind of a common thing you're going to see a lot, is getting your building choices. At any point you can choose to re-roll them using your denarii. That's the red currency that's usually given through as a drop on these attacks. The different waves enemies you're going to be facing. So you can see the build cost and then the troop build cost. So always remember this bottom part is for actually building out what you're trying to have as a structure, and then for combat then the actual generation, and then some advanced production facilities as well will tell you the cost and what you get in exchange. So just example, bone pit every 12 seconds. We're going to get a skeleton. It's going to cost us 9 water. And we can have up to 3 skeletons per a building. That can be adjusted based on a lot of things. Upgrades sometimes. There's general artifacts that can affect things. Stuff like that. So, we're not going to think too deeply on this. I like having ranged and warrior. It's really 2 good things to have. We're not really going to do undead. We're not going to get that many for this person we're playing, and for the area we're in, we're just not going to get that many. So, may as well get hunters. We just need to build up a bit of wheat and a lot of wood, and then we need a little wood and some wheat to actually build them. And then here's basic production. And again, this is why we go with that one advisor. I don't really ever bother with Big Well because it only gives us 200. And the other ones are free and forever. It is a cheap cost, and it's technically a faster way to get the water. I just never really prio that versus everything else we can get, which is Iron Mine. This unlocks units using iron. This is what we're going to be grabbing, by the way. And then grape bushes, which can help produce wine. So grape bushes is great if you have a winery already, or if you're just going to try to hard push that. And then here we have the prophecy, which you'll get denoted after you run your 3 waves. There will be 1 or 2 waves. One's usually a shop, and then it gets into a prophecy. And the prophecy is just what are you going to be facing next. So we got hunters. I'm confident we can build that up. So we're going to kind of make this last wave a bit heavy, because I like the idea of a spell. I like troop training. And I like troop training as well. And then I want denarii. And I want resources. In fact, we're going to put the spell after this. Just because the resources could help push us into getting those extra units quickly. And then going over this, you can see you have your enemies that are being called out, and you have your troop training with the Goblin Bandits, your denarii, the spell, and additional troop training. So from there, we also then hit a scenario. So we have our choices. You can increase your castle max HP by 20. If you only had your base 100 HP, it might be worth it. But we have 200, not really worth it at all. We can get a spell, or we can get an artifact or nothing. It's a 50-50 roll. If you've watched my old commentary, then you'll know which one I choose. Because I got a saying, it's with TFT that I also play, Gamba. And we hit. So we get an artifact. And there's something to quickly explain. Just kind of the right side here. Over here, your 6 slots, that's going to be spells. Again, you have your abilities, advisor ability, and these 3 that circle the king are the king abilities. And then right here, if this plus sign comes up, just click it immediately when you see it. That's going to be some type of a reward. It might be a troop upgrade, it might be an artifact, it might be buildings, etc. All of them go in this little corner here. So, what do we have? We can get 40 random basic resources at the start of the wave, which that's great. Or the blood and wine and 4 up. And just flat out, I would recommend always getting this. This means I don't have to completely worry about always having a focus and getting a winery, and it just adds a morale boost as I go at all times, because you're always going to have enemies to face. You drink your wine during combat. You can see it's not going down right now, so there's just not a lot of reasons to go down a path other than grab that. You have that all taken care of now. And then we don't have to focus on getting that morale boost as much, especially with we can push more waves into this early. And here we're going to be doing something funny, and that's just I need 4 wood and 2, so I need 8. And now I'm going to get into troop manipulation. Now, just flat out, I recommend once you get a little comfortable with your troops management, go into this spawn troops to capacity. The other 2 options is the red icon, which is just spawn troops in the battlefield. But when you hit this limit, they'll stop producing. Spawn troops in the barracks. They'll just keep spawning in the barracks. It doesn't care if you hit your troop limit or not. And then you have to click this quick replenishment manually in order to get the troops on the battlefield. This middle icon, the split icon, basically says, hey, keep producing troops, and when you hit the limit, we'll just put them in the barracks. Now, if I start losing troops, I'm not like hovering over producing more troops, I then can click the quick replenishment to take them from the barracks. So it's the best of both worlds. There are times where you're going to want to just spawn troops in the barracks, and it might be something along the lines of all your troops get wiped out over here, and you got a major enemy pushing forward. You don't want to send a wave of troops like a stream, because they might just get wiped out one by one. So you may want to hold off on spawning them out into the battlefield and let that enemy come to you, and then you can attack it at once with a much larger force. So that's the main reason I ever end up using that. You will see that in a few of the videos where I kind of just use that tactic, but in general I'd say just get used to having it spawn troops to capacity, and you can go from there. And then one last note before we kick it off, we can just let this kind of play a little bit here, but this is going to tell us what troops we have. We can push them back and forth from being in the barracks or not being in the barracks. Not as relevant now, but you can see different attributes and all that, and it's just a good way to keep track of what your current army loadout is. Okay, we got some resources. We definitely want gold, and with that actually we can now increase our gaze. And what we're going to be doing is picking up resources and refilling our peasants. And now we have something it's really good to have, which is the market. The market is just how you get gold. It's really really simple to explain here, which is you click the question mark, and then you choose what you're trying to sell. In general, whatever you're trying to sell, you want to make sure that you can keep replenishing that. So in this case, I have 2 wheat and 1 on this tile, which increases the production speed for that tile itself. So I hit that, and I just let it run. And then while we're at it, I'm going to put the iron there, and then the research table I'll put below the iron. And right now I can only do basic production. There is a way to do more than just basic production when it comes to research. I just do not have that ability at the moment. So you notice the hunters are now getting attacked directly. It's something that you want to have a balance of ranged units and melee units. Melee units are going to tend to have more HP. But these are just peasants, and peasants just don't have like a crazy amount of HP in general. Okay, so we chose the spell, Chain Lightning. It is exactly what you think it does. Not really going to over-explain that one, but... Okay, we don't have crystals for that. It really just splashes a bunch of damage across multiple units. And that's it. There's nothing else to it. It's kind of just really going to have, just to show what it does right now. You can see it just wiped out a bunch of them, gave us a little line from the artifact we got. That's going to kind of speed everything up so we can get through the fight a little faster and not use as much wine. So it looks like we used up our peasants again, so we just need to keep producing some more. We have additional hunter coming out, which we released from the barracks. And then one thing you can notice, this highlighted, and that just means we can have a higher troop limit, which we're going to take here in a second. Banish is going to be weird. This is something that actually gets spells. I'm not going to use it immediately, but basically when you have a big pause between fights, so say you clear out a fight, or you choose to have a very quick fight, after that fight, you use that spell on your troops, and they'll be gone for 30 seconds, and then for every troop you banished, they come back, and they give you crystal. And that kind of plays into, then you can convert, this can convert into additional spells. Okay, we're gonna put some wood there for now. And yeah, we need clay, a lot more gold, a lot more wheat. And then yeah, let's do that, so we get some iron, so we get some more options. I don't feel like spending this just because if we don't have the crystals yet, Magic School, which is what generates the spells, needs crystals. You can see that red arrow, it takes 21 crystals to produce a spell. Not really something we're trying to rush into. No, this is the trading screen. You hit this, again, like after every 3 waves, you hit a trading screen, and you hit Prophecy. So here you have your different resources. So like gold mine's pretty good early on. We just don't have metal for it. We could get more hunters if you want to increase that. We might be going that route. Gnomes it adds morale, but we don't have the troop limit for us to really leverage that properly. The firing range is nice when I have a surplus of wine. It brings in a pretty strong ranged unit that works with champions. Only thing is we don't have champions right now, so, and for what we're showing in this, we're probably not hitting a champion. 30 beach resource, that can be good, and that actually could get us into musketeers. We have enough denarii. We do not have enough denarii, actually, no, this is 60, yeah. So 50 the gold, we need more, so that's not a line. So if I'm not seeing much, I'm most likely going to go over here, which is troop upgrade. You can get some spells over here, or you can get some building upgrades. So this is a building upgrade, this is a troop augment. So hunters poison the enemy. That's actually probably better than our training, is to get that, and to get our hunters. And then I can add another group of hunters. We can build up our wood and our wheat. You can see the prophecy coming, which is 4 wall busters. So let's push for more wood to increase our troop limit, more wood to build than our hunters, and then we're just going to be building up hunters. Yeah, that poison damage is going to do great against the unit we're about to face, which is the wall busters are a tank that can go basically beeline directly for your walls. Makes sense, they're called wall busters. That still isn't going to be so much damage where you're like, oh, I need to get rid of these guys, but it is better to not let them hit the base. But yeah, with the additional general damage they're doing, and just the poison as well that they're doing, great. That's 10 additional DPS per second. I don't know if the poison stacks. I don't know if they've even gone into that much depth of explaining it. But what we just got is a really good hit. So we have the madhouse. These guys just kind of run around, and That's just kind of what they do. They're kind of better peasants in a weird way, but you need clay, which we don't have any clay. We got the Whipman, which another grunt unit. You can see plus 3 damage dealt to all units for each Whipman on the battlefield. That can be good, but what we're looking for is militia. For a few things. You can see one of the upgrades, Mega Dude. For every 4 base militia, you get a nice beefy guy. They have a nice strong HP pool, so they pair well with the hunters. I'm not going to over-explain why we're getting them, just know that they're kind of nice tanks to have, and that's why we're going for them. And then we hit the Crystal Mine, which is great, so we're going to grab that twice. That's going to let us start creating spells. Increase the lifetime of all temporary units by 3 times. I don't have many temporary units yet, my king doesn't. King Baldwin does. And then create temporary units with the chance of being resummoned. I don't have a reroll for this, and neither of these help me, but of the 2, this is a resummon. This is 3 times the lifespan. At best, this is giving me double the lifespan, maybe on death. This, if they don't die, it's just flat out going to be better every time, so we're grabbing that. And then basic construction that you just saw, you may have remembered from when we were looking at the abilities. That is something that can kind of really help you out if you're missing something specifically. In this case, clay, so that's what we're going to be using it for. But it transforms over time into a resource building. So again, grabbing resource early, grabbing a spell, grabbing Denari. You almost always want to grab Denari, and then I like getting as many spells as possible, and artifacts. Building upgrade can be great, basic production can be good, but artifacts and spells, just for how I view the game, are better. Unless you know, like, you have a lot of the advanced building upgrades unlocked. And then here's a choice. We can get wood, we can get 3 troops in wood, we don't need more troops, we're doing pretty good there. But troop training, I like troop training. And that's why. Ranged, more range damage. If you've been noticing, we've been getting warrior and ranged. And that's because specifically, our hunters are warrior and ranged. And that's the other reason that we're going for this militia camp, is because they operate. Yeah, we need more wood. They are a warrior as well. So yeah, we should do that. Build up some wood, and then we're gonna be building up clay, and the clay is to increase the gaze. And right now we have peasants and hunters, and the peasants get knocked out of combat. So we're going to start bringing up, you can see way beefier guys than the peasants. The peasants, 30 HP. Militia, 328. Like, completely, these just have just completely different levels of units. So peasants are always just kind of your starter ones. They're just kind of fodder. It's something I'd honestly recommend to move on from as soon as you can. And one thing we're going to do here is we're going to start selling ore, just because we're not using it for anything, but we can start selling it. And then I need to get just enough crystal to hit that 2001 for magic school, so we can get our spell. Okay, and then we're going to get a bunch of troops, and when we beat them, we'll get some additional spells. Great. What I'm just going to do here is, so we have it, is some peasants kind of fill in, pull in the militia people, go down for the militia camp, and let's, what do I need? I need more wood. I just need more wood. And that's kind of part of the game is juggling. You only have 200 instances once you get a certain upgrade of these resources per for those resources. The only thing that doesn't really go away from your base buildings is that well. So it's kind of juggling all your resources, choosing what you need to be building and how you need to be attacking your building, what troops go well, and how to upgrade those paths to be most advantageous for the playstyle you're going for. And with this, I'm actually going to banish my troops, so I can let the enemy kind of crash into us. There's one guy left. Might be the sacrifice, unfortunately. And then they're going to come back and give us a big boost to those crystals. So we got 44 right now, and now we're at 86. Over doubled it really quickly. We'll still get more over time with the crystals, but just want to show how that vanish worked. And so I don't think we have boss coming up on us yet. So yeah, we have one more prophecy, and then we'll have the boss coming up pretty soon here. Okay, so we're gonna let the peasants run out. We're gonna restock both militia and peasants. And they're taking out most of our hunters. Now, I'm not trying to use the spells right now because in general, unless you really need to use the spells, it's better just to not use them and hold them for a boss. Okay, let's use some more wood really quickly, and then I can. Yeah, I'm gonna get this immediately. Bottomless jug, gain 1,000 water upon picking up the artifact, and I'm going to immediately demolish these and just put a bunch of these resources out so we can leverage them. And then we're gonna push up 2 more hunters just to have them. So you can see Max Troop, we're just kind of filling up our barracks for the backup troops. And then we're going back to getting our spell, getting more buildings. This is just literally churning out basic production buildings. Get the healing points, just get them nice and healed. Do that now. They don't, unless you have certain artifacts, they're not going to heal over time without applying that. And then swordsman, another warrior. Again, we got warrior, we want warrior. We've been pushing for warrior upgrades. And yeah, I'm not seeing any upgrades here. Artifacts, nothing too crazy. I'm seeing, you know, spells that are like looking at that. And Tesla towers, I'm just not running this oil right now. And I think it's 40 oil per strike. And I don't have steel. I don't have metal either. So in that case, kind of the choice of the 50? No, it's 70. I can do the troop training, which I've already gotten a few, or I can get a swordsman. And I'm kind of in debate between this, but I think troop training is just going to be better. We might pick up a swordsman along the way. And that's just so we can continue to increase the damage of our current units we have. Just for this first boss, we should be good with the spells we have so far. And spawn, that spells of deforestation gets you a bunch of wood. But you do run into that problem. There's a 20% chance, which we rolled pretty bad on, to spawn one of those units you saw, which was the treants. And then we're gonna produce some more units. And you see what I meant? We literally just got the swordsman. Just immediately got that swordsman. So we don't have to do much for that at all. Spells, Scarecrow, I love Scarecrow. Vine Mask, we don't need grapes right now. Get one when I create a unit. I still rather actually have grapes. Weirdly. And then, yeah, let's do resource, and then units. And then let's really put the resource heavy, and then and then I'm going to be kind of recovering. as you kind of push in the early game when you can, it is just good to take as heavy as combats as you can. Okay, so 10 of each resource, 100 crystals, or a magic school. We don't need another magic school, like, at all. We're not spellious, so, like, spells aren't, like, the one thing we're trying to run constantly. 10 of each resource can be nice for some random stuff here, but, like, yeah, if we didn't already have crystal production, like, we have 3 cycles of spell production, so we can just get 10 of each resource. And overall, it's just going to be better for us to some degree. And then, even though, should mention the red tile, you can probably imagine blue tile good, red tile bad. This red tile is going to slow down the production of the unit in here, which is wheat and iron to make the swordsman. Or, it's just called ore. Yeah, ore. And then, I'm going to say this red flag you see. Yep, the trader, and then here's our boss. So we know we're preparing for the boss now. So we want to hold on to the spells as long as we can. But that's going to be a lot. Putting a scarecrow right in front of them, that's going to take aggro from the archers, and it actually is just going to take a lot of them out once they get done attacking it. Or it doesn't do the same AoE anymore. So that's a little weird. I swore in the demo it did that, but I do know it's really to take aggro. There's a few spells that, like, the byproduct is it takes aggro. One of those being the Infernals, which I love leveraging. And then, yeah, we want more wine. We want to kind of keep that wine up. With that metal, we can actually sell that. And we need to be pushing for more of that anyway, so may as well. And then let's just get some more wood, so we keep having wood, so we might be able to upgrade more. And then, yeah, it's probably going to be a very good idea here, because we do want some more troops in the battlefield for this boss. So we got the upgrade, we can push out our troops. Keep creating more, and then some of them will be for backup. And then, if you remember from the prophecy, we specifically took a lighter load when it comes to what we're going to be facing before the boss. So we don't have to worry about all that too much. More militia camps, it's good to have. And I might get rid of one of the peasants to just have more militia. By maybe, I just mean that straight up is what we're going to do. So, removing that for militia camp. Get some more wood up. And then we're filling out our barracks, so we have our stronger melee units to kind of fill in. And then that's something we'll have to monitor with the boss fight. It's just spamming that quick replenishment as we go. Now for the next 2 fights that we have before the boss, I'm going to be having it sit on the resource building and the magic building. That is something to also kind of get used to balancing, which is just at times, sometimes you want to be producing troops, sometimes you want to be producing general resources, and sometimes you want to be producing future buildings to kind of help you further along more than anything else. And then with this, I think we can get one more militia camp out. Sorry peasants, you're getting completely removed at this point, just because I'd rather just have the stronger units. And then, there we go. We have a whole bunch of peasants ready to go. The melee units are going to get taken out first, just in general with how the bosses fight. Especially Margaret. And then, something to note, like, I've not been playing as greedy as I normally do. You can see in one of them, one of my recent no commentary videos, I actually pushed to get this broader gaze out like as soon as possible. And part of that is just heavily running the market early on, kind of like almost constantly building everything around it and using it. And that's just more of for what we're going for. So going for this first boss, we don't really need to sit here and push beyond that. Now, one thing you always need to remember, can we, I think we can sell that flower. So that could be good to grab. 30% chance of being cast twice. What spells do we have? Ground Fire and Moonshine. That's not really anything crazy. I do like the Mega Troop, so we're gonna make sure we have plenty of wood for this upcoming battle. And then as we replenish the militia units, we're going to end up having a Mega Troop hopefully spawn during this combat. But we're gonna be looking at our resources. We're looking pretty good for this upcoming fight, and for this entire fight, we're just gonna be kind of sitting on top of these four right here. Once they actually start fighting. And that's just gonna be for properly replenishing. The iron mine there, just be a little more iron developing. And then yeah, now that the fight started, like I mentioned, we're gonna be kind of pushing out the replacements. And if they got to our hunters, we'd want to stop with that and then let them kind of build up, like I mentioned before. But in this case, we just kind of keep wanting to push out so we can keep her busy while the hunter does the work. We got the poison upgrade for the hunter, so it's really good to kind of make sure we keep her away from the hunter. But right now we have just a lot in our stockpile. And you can see that AoE hit the hunter, but we're going to end up beating her. And with that, we're just going to pause here. Thank you for watching, and I hope this kind of helped get you more of a general understanding of how to play this game and how to tackle it early game. As you can surmise, there's way more depth to this game beyond even what I've covered. We didn't even get into any of the really advanced buildings, you know, getting into flower development for flower dragons. You can get the iron to end up building out more advanced troops. I think there's explosive carts that build off of the iron. Actually developing a wine and running morale. There's multiple ways to manage and develop out morale. And then even personally, I haven't really figured out how we're using meat, oil, and furniture yet. Seems a little... Two of those just didn't exist in the demo, and the furniture seems to be a little bit different, including you can kind of sell it out the gate, versus I want to say the furniture store was just required to sell it. So, you know, storm codes, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw from this game, remember to click the description with the link below. That's going to take you right to the Steam page for The King is Watching.